All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to those who just walk in. Welcome to MTE 2025. You're in luck because this is the final Tech Talk session. We are delighted to close today with seminar series with a topic that touches the very core of operation excellence, traceability in inventory and logistics. So our speaker for today, just a small profile, is Mr. Heng, Assistant Sales Manager at Six Sensor Malaysia, Senior Berhad, with deep expertise in industrial sensor technology and smart tracking system. Mr. Heng worked closely with clients across sectors to implement precision solutions that enhance visibility, accuracy and control. In today's session titled From Pen and Paper to Precision Tracking, Mr. Heng will guide us through the evolution of traceability from manual logs to barcodes, RFIDs and now ultra-wideband UWB in short. You will discover how these technologies have revolutionized inventory management and logistics and how smart tracking is setting the stage for the next era of supply chain performance. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please join me in welcoming Mr. Heng Chin Wai.
Hi, good morning everyone. So thanks for the MC, for the introduction. So I'm Heng. You can call me Heng. So actually today I'm representing Six Sensor Malaysia. So I know some of you guys come across with the name Six itself like, hey, so weird. Why is the name is called as Sakit? You guys might find it so weird. Yeah, but later I will explain to you guys a bit of company profile, some of traceability, evolutions of traceability about it. So what we Seek actually do, we are actually into sensor automations industries. So what we are providing to the customers is very much sorry. Yeah, so what we are doing is very much into production, logistics, and some process areas. So we are providing very much into automation sensors. But the solution that we are providing is not just limited to traceabilities, but it's also detecting of the objects, identifying, measuring, monitoring, protecting. I can almost say what you need in the markets for sensors, we actually do provide that. So comes to the name, how is Six actually started off. So us as a Six Sensor, we are actually a German company. So to them, they don't really pronounce as Zig, but it's actually pronounced as Zig. So the company is founded by Dr. Erwin Zig. So our company is actually more than 75 years. So when it was founded, the very much first products that is actually supplied to the markets is actually we focus into accident prevention light curtains. So in short, it's safety light curtains if you guys come across with the industry itself. So we believe in using technology for good to protect people, to free people from tedious tasks, to preserve our planets. And a very quick glance about our portfolios. We are actually, in last year, we actually crossed the marks of 2 billion euros globally for our revenue. And we have actually more than 60 subsidiaries across the global. So you can see in the maps, the marking with blue colors is where we have our direct subsidiaries in the particular countries. So for those countries that is not being covered, we actually work through partners, local partners to supply the solutions. So let's come to the actual topic for today, traceability. So what do you guys think about traceabilities? You may find it's just a words, a sentence, tracking only, right? But if you think deep enough, there's a statement here, in logistics, what you can't see, you can't manage. So basically what it means is if you do not have any transparency on your production floor or your logistics area, right, you can't even think how to improve your process. You can't even think how to do your inventory management. So let's quickly just jump into a production today. Imagine you are engineers, you are supervisors working in the areas of manufacturing, logistics. Typically, you would think that today I need to do a maintenance for my equipment. So where is my assets now? Where I actually place it to? Then if today you are a supply chain manager, probably you would think that, hey, what is my stock level today? So you can see the co-relationships tracking about it. Then, of course, to some CEOs or some managing directors, they want it to be even better. They want the right material to go to the right place at the right time. So, and even to the extent that some companies actually practice first in, first out practice, so that you always utilize the old stocks instead of the new stocks. And of course, how do you ensure data and accuracy and minimize human error? So let's begin all of the topic about traceability. Maybe some of you guys may see these are books before lah. So it basically is a notebook. A lot of Malaysians, when they are childhood time, probably will use this notebook to do markings or recordings of the data. So actually, the particular move that you're actually writing down all of the information, right, is actually the start of traceabilities. So it's good that you actually practice to do trackings, but have you ever thought of having a physical recording, keep recordings? It actually brings a delay of your data. Sometimes you might actually lose your notebooks, and probably you will have error. Today, I actually remember what I've actually done or collected from my customers and actually write down. But after a year, when I opened up the notebook, right, probably I forgot what I actually wrote down. Even though I've written down, but I actually forgot about it. So errors is always happening. So probably as engineers working in this industry, we'll actually look into how can we actually improve this process. So basically, we are trying to drive the needs to improve it. So the three keywords about traceability here is actually very much into speed, accuracy, and visibility for your data. So there's a report or the data collected by Boston Consulting Groups. So we will look into very much into a financial service, retail and e-commerce and logistics and deliveries. So the interview is done across the sectors. So 83% of them actually felt it's very important to locate your data and to know where is your inventories or assets across your areas. So that same goes for e-commerce and retail areas. 71% of them felt it's very important. Yeah, so maybe these are the data from the industry players itself. But actually for us as consumers, right, you will find tracking the information is actually very important. For example, if today you buy something from Shopee or Lazada, you probably, the next hour, you will start to look into your apps and see what is the status. Is it already packed by the people? Is it sending out? And you will find it most disappointed time is that you actually receive the wrong product while you are waiting for it. So again, this emphasizes the importance of the trackings and having the accurate data. So now we know that manual record is one of the methods for trackings, but again, it's not that efficient and always have a data issues. So what's next? Barcodes. Barcode is the very first revolutions to trackings. Actually, today we will see it very common, especially if we go into retail shops like Aeons, Lotus. When you purchase some things, you will see the cashiers actually bring up barcode readers and scan it. So this particular approach is very similar to industrial as well. So in industry itself, we actually implement a similar thing. So you can imagine if today, when you buy some things, right, from the retail shops, if the cashier suddenly take out a keyboard and key in all the SKUs, and just over the 5 minutes times, you will realize the queue actually queuing up at the back already. So this particular solution is actually revolutionizing the industry itself. Basically, it's just a beeping sound. You see here, you beep. Within 5 seconds, you already record down information and tie back to the software. So this actually fulfill the previous three needs: speed, accuracy, visibility. But again, you know, humans, we are being very greedy. Even though we fulfill accuracy, speed, visibility, we don't feel it's satisfied yet. So let's see, what is the limitations about these solutions? The limitation of this particular solution is that line of sight is required. So what does this mean? So basically what it meant is the particular barcodes or label, you will always have to look into it. So meaning to say your device, like barcode readers, you have to scan it, look into it. So what is the limitation about this is that it's very inefficient because you have to do a manual scannings for every single products or every single barcodes. So at times you also have a risk of damaging the labels. Therefore, you are unable to do the trackings. And what's even worse is certain process you actually involve semi-autos. So imagine if today operators, you request them to do the scanning, to do the trackings, but they actually forgot to do this particular process. So you can't even track it if it was not scanned into the systems. And of course, boss around, you will actually always talk about cost. You will actually require to hire a humans or a system to be present to do the scanning process. So what's happened next is that RFID. I think you guys nowadays will see a lot, especially into the traffic itself, go through booth, all these things. RFID is the next thing. So for those that is not familiar with RFID, what does these terms mean? It's actually a radio frequency identification systems. Then it basically uses a radio wave to read microchip tag. So the major difference between RFID and the barcodes is that it's wireless, not optical scan. And previously I mentioned about its inefficiency to use a barcode, right? So with this technology, actually improve or fill up the gaps. Basically, it can scan through the packagings, no line of sight. You don't need to see the labels itself. It can do a batch scannings. Instead of scanning every single one of it, you can one shot do probably a multiple scannings and do a trackings. And even better is that you can always do changes of the data on the RFID tag itself. But again, we cannot specify one because even though you improve all the gaps, human is still very innovative because the solution itself, although it's able to give you the automations tracking, right? The limitation is that it only gives you a roughly locations about it. Basically, it gives you a proximity when you actually pass through the zones. I will know that it actually entered the zone, but I can't pinpoint within the zone itself. So you have a lack of precisions. And also what most people doesn't really understand about this technology is that it has some limitation about the interference. So typically, it's actually weak against metals or liquids. So at times, people that actually use RFID tag on their car, right, they will complain, hey, why the toll itself, operator is imposing a very cheap solutions into the toll and causing all the jams. But as a matter of fact, at times it was being interfered by our tinted film, where it have a heavy content of metals. So metals is actually one of enemies for RFID. So I mentioned about the limitation of RFID. Now I would like to present to you guys the next innovative solutions. In short, it's an ultra wideband. In short, it's UWB. So what does these words mean? So I believe you guys with smartphones or drivers, you guys is very familiar with GPS. When you actually drive, maybe this morning, come to MyTech, you'll probably take out your phones and turn on your smartphones and go into Google Maps and search the locations. And basically, it will track where you have drive and it will guide you through. But the moment you step into MyTech, right, you'll realize your signal actually lost and probably it will point you to somewhere around Publica or Solaris, which is not accurate. So the limitation about GPS is that it can't really penetrate into indoor areas. So the next solutions that we can actually provide to the customers is actually using ultra wideband. So you can treat it like an indoor GPS where we can actually implement into a production area or logistics areas. So the particular technology is also a radio frequency type of technology. It actually having a approximately of bandwidth at 6.5 gigahertz. So the beauty about this technology is that it can pinpoint or give you precisions up to a plus minus 30 cm of accuracy. So later I will show you more about the case studies and how it actually improve the logistics supply chains flow. So there's a very quick comparisons between a few technologies. I will just quickly glance through. So in tracking solutions, just as I mentioned about barcodes, RFID, and ultra-wideband, there are also a few type of solutions to do it, which is using a Bluetooth, BLE, Wi-Fi, GPS. So both, every single solutions, they have their own limitations, and there are pros and cons. But I think due to the limited of time, maybe later on you can actually drop to our booth if you would like to know more about this. But for the sake of saving the time, I will just skip the technology comparison portions. So I've mentioned about ultra-wideband. So how does it actually works for ultra-wideband solutions? So let's see a sample of warehouse areas. So for ultra-wideband solutions, it actually involves three particular portions. One is anchor, or sometimes some of our customers will refer it as antenna. And there will be a tag and a software. So if you see when there's a forklift or AGVs pass through, those devices actually, it was being tagged with a tag. So what happened is all of the four anchors, it will actually pinpoint the location of the tag. So sometimes the technology is actually using a time of arrival to do the calculation at the back end. This is one of the example. So the forklift came in and starts to collect the pallet. So the system will actually automatically recognize that the pallet have a movement. It will start to pinpoint where the location of the pallets. And even to the extent of certain warehouse, they needs to have a certain staging areas. So we can also do some zoning for the particular areas where all of the pallets can be arranged according to the SKUs. And even better is this particular technology can work together with operators. So for example, if let's say the material XYZ actually come into a zone A, in our systems, we are able to notify the operators that the material already came in. And operator can move to the particular pallets to start to unpack and then load it to the right locations. And since we are able to pinpoint and do the tracking on the tags, right? So in the particular system, we can also do a guidance for the operators where to search for the items. This will actually save a lot of time for the operators. Yep, so this is a bit of summary of the setup of the particular systems. So it's part of identifications, and we position ultra-wideband is slightly like above of RFID or barcodes. So don't get me wrong, for ZIG itself, we actually provides end-to-end solutions. We actually do have all the barcodes, barcode readers, RFIDs, and ultra-wideband itself. So to us, we are very much a customer-centric approach, where it depends on customers, what do they need, and what is the challenges and the bottlenecks of the solutions. We will actually provide the items accordingly. And just a very quick overview of how the software looks like. So you will have a home page, very much a simple dashboard. And within the dashboard itself, you can see maps, just like our Google Maps within the software. And we can actually do all the assets countings, and even to the extent that we track when was the item was being last moved, so that we can actually define which items is the last of, basically is to practice first in, first out. So, yep. And we can also do some reports for analysis purpose, because certain productions engineers, right, they wanted to streamline or improve their efficiencies of the productions line. So one way to do it is actually to study how the inventory is being moved across the productions areas. So one way is actually using a spaghetti map. So on the left corners, it's actually showing the red lines. This is actually the path taken for the inventories or the tag is being moved across. And another workaround is actually heat map. So how long the item is being stayed in the same locations before it moves to the next one. And this is some of example of dashboards. Yep. Some use case is, for example, our customers actually came to us. I would like to reduce the time until I find my material or container so that I can cut costs. So one way is to utilize our software itself. So in our search bar, you can actually search for the particular items, and it will directly pinpoint you towards the right locations. So the operator is able to save some time to search for the right products. Then, of course, our customer also requested that I would like to record process errors or deviations so that I can see where I can improve my process generally. So this can be used using the spaghetti or some history of the movement of the products. And we are able to generate the reports so that the specific engineers is able to do analysis to it. Same thing, we can actually optimize all the routes using the similar reports. And clients who adopted ultra-widebands, this data is collected in Europe. Some is even collected within our production floor itself. So we realize it actually helps us to save times. Almost 66% of reductions in the time spent searching for assets or inventories. Productivity, we can see, is actually improved, somewhere between 10 to 20%. Efficiency, 20% reduction in time wasted on unproductive tasks. Because today, if you imagine, if you ask your workers, go to search your item, probably they will just stone over there looking at you, thinking, where is the items? This is actually a time-wasting process. The easy task is go into your software, look for it, pinpoint the locations, grab the items. Now, of course, it could help to improve quality in a sense that if today operator wanted to get a SKU, let's say ABC for assemble purpose, and they accidentally took the wrong item at the next of it. So with all this tracking, right, you can actually ensure when you do the assembly process at time, it's actually getting the right inventories for processing. Yep. So just to summarize the solutions, asset tracking, the application is asset tracking, reduce search times, increase transparency, process automations. In our software, we are able to trigger the events. Navigations, just like just now, the operators and the AGVs working together. It's also, for us, it doesn't bounce just indoor, but we can also work together with GPS solutions. So we can actually use in both indoor and outdoors applications. Then, of course, documentation so that you can always select the right items to be implemented. Then, of course, nowadays, people is talking about data. We can always use the software for data analysis. Then, a very, very typical situations in a warehouse is pallet. So, let's assume on the right side is a warehouse where pallets is being randomly placed in the logistics area. Today, Ahmad actually went into it and recognized the pallet is being placed in this way. And all of a sudden, Mutu came in. I wanted to shift the pallet at the back. So what happened is they will actually move the pallets across and select the pallet. But the next day, the shift, Ahmad came in. Hey, how come my pallet all being misplaced already and I can't find the right pallets? So one way to do it is actually absolute position localizations, which is using our ultra-widebands. Because the tag itself is a real-time tracking, we can always track the data. Same thing, tracking. One way to do it is combine solutions. Having a RFID, barcodes together, we can actually pinpoint or track the particular pallets or inbox. Yep. So just very quick conclusions. So we have walked through the path of evolutions of traceabilities. So what we can learn from here is that we are actually trying to change from a reactive process towards proactive. But what's next is very much into a predictive processes. So through this change, right, we can actually move into more resilience, a smarter way of connected supply chains. So just a very quick recap for SIG itself, it's a customer-centric approach. So in case if you have some ideas or some problems, feel free to drop by our booth and we will come out with some solutions and propose to you guys. Yep, thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Heng Chin Wai. And now we are open the floor for Q&A. I'll just glance through. If any question, please raise your hand. I'll bring the microphone over and you may present your questions accordingly. Are there any questions would you like to ask the crowd? Nope, all good. So thank you so much. Let's give another warm round of applause to our speaker. Thank you once again, Mr. Heng Chin Wai, for your insightful and engaging session. Your deep dive into evaluation and traceability has been perfect way to conclude our TED Talk session of MTE 2025. So ladies and gentlemen, this marks the end of our seminar series, but the exhibition floor remains open until 4 p.m. today. We invite all our visitors to continue to explore the latest transformative solutions from automation, sensors to AI-driven platform right here at MyTech Kuala Lumpur. On behalf of the organizing committee, thank you so much for being part of MTE 2025, and we hope you have lived inspired, informed, and ready to shape the future of manufacturing and logistics. So have a great afternoon, and I understand it's going to be a long weekend. So to those who are celebrating Selamat Hari Merdeka, you're going to have 2 days off, which is going to be a very nice time. And have a great afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your visit. My name is Marvin Ma. This wraps up for today's session of MTE 2025. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.